Simon Hunter and I run Simon Says Dance, a dance school based in Edinburgh. I decided in my time in lockdown to be a little bit more productive and start a new project called Simon Talks Dance. I'm going to be interviewing several different males from different parts of the dance industry, including performers, choreographers, teachers, and students. I want to know how they've managed to succeed in this industry and what obstacles they have had to overcome. In a world where there's still so much stigma attached around this subject, I want to delve into this idea of negativity and try and make it a much more of a positive conversation. As a male dance teacher, I feel that my purpose is not only to teach the next generation of dancers, but also to inspire more boys into the dance world. I would like to introduce to you today Josh Wharmby. He is from Liverpool and he is a massive name in the commercial industry. He's performed globally with big names such as Pink, Liam Payne, Jennifer Hudson, Taylor Swift, and Rita Ora. He's also the choreographer for Dance 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 in Amsterdam. And in 2019, he assisted Brian Friedman in a massive film project in Budapest. So let's see what he's got to say today. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, good, thank you. I feel like we're all getting through this lockdown together. How are you surviving?
Definitely. Do you know what? I'm weirdly enjoying it. In a very strange sense of the word. I think it came at a good time for me. I was really run down. I was working pretty much every day, 24/7. So for me, it kind of came at a weirdly good time in terms of my body needed the break, my brain needed the break. And you know, like luckily for us in our industry, we can still continue to work even during this lockdown. I'm actually probably just as busy.
Yeah, and
even though I can't fit.
Exactly, it's almost like creating a new schedule of what you've got to do every day.
Yeah,
That keeps you just as busy, doesn't it?
Exactly, and a lot of colleges that I work at and stuff are now taking their timetables online for the students. So, you know, I'm still working, but obviously I have the luxury of being able to do it from home. So it's not as strenuous.
Yeah, you're right. And it's also funny, it's giving you time to like actually take a step back and be like, right, what do I enjoy? What do I like to do? It's quite a good thing.
Totally. You know what? I literally had that conversation with my girlfriend the other day. I was like, it's kind of made me realize that I need to be a little bit more picky on what I actually want to do and what I enjoy, and not just doing it all for the money and all to get my name out there and stuff like that. You know, it's very much made me realize that I need to just pick what I enjoy from now on.
And that's great. It's great that it's kind of giving you that time to
Definitely.
think, because you're always going 100 miles an hour as a teacher, choreographer. That like you're constantly on the go. So it's really good to actually have this time. Even though I'd rather be teaching the children face to face, it is good. That
of course.
So on that note, what I'd like to start with is that I'd love to go back to the very, very start for you. Obviously, you've had an amazing career so far, but if we can go back to the start when you first started dancing, you started quite young. So how did you get into that in the first place then?
Yeah, so my mum and dad actually owned a dance school from actually before I was born. They owned a dance school for about, it was almost 30 years actually.
Wow.
And they actually met each other in dance college and they graduated together. And from that moment, they decided that they weren't really going to push the performance side of things, but they really wanted to open their own thing and have their own business and help, you know, the next generation of dancers. And at that time, I mean, you're talking like, I don't even know what year. You're talking like over 35 years ago.
Yeah.
The dance school industry was not that big. There were not many dance schools. It was, you know, it was very few and far between. So my mum and dad started a dance school called Harlequin, which was based in Liverpool. And it very rapidly just grew and grew and grew. And to the point where they had like 4 different branches going in different parts of Liverpool at one time. And I guess because they were so busy with the dance school, they used to just take me there, and I was their first kid. So they would take me there when I was a baby and stuff like that. And then when I was around 5, my mum said one day I just got up and just started joining in at the back. And it kind of just sparked like that really. And I guess just being around that from pretty much birth kind of made me, you know, that it just kind of made me want to join in. And I was always at the dance school, literally 24/7. My mum and dad were there 24/7 as well. So I was always there with them. And I think it was just the natural thing that was going to happen. And then from there it just progressed, and I ended up dancing up through my mum and dad's dance school. So I never actually went to any other place, which then led on to me teaching. Once I hit about 14, 15, I would teach for my mum and dad, and I would you know, put my own little crews together and put them in for like UDO and things like that. And I guess that's where kind of my passion for choreography started as well. Alongside dancing, it's always been something that I've done since about 13, 14, I would say. So yeah, I'm basically from a dancing family.
Legit.
There wasn't really any other passion that I had. So.
And the thing is, it's not just you, your brother and sister, is that right? They both dance as well?
My brother doesn't dance, but he's a personal trainer, so he's kind of in a similar industry. Yeah, and yeah, my sister's a dancer in the industry as well. Yeah,
that's so cool. So it's literally like a wee trap family of like dancers, performers.
Pretty much, yeah. My mum was always the kind of ballet, jazz, technical side of things, and my dad was always like the street dance side of it. Yeah, and now obviously we have our own company as a family, and my mum also has a company on the side, which she produces dance shows and competitions and dance trips around the country and worldwide and stuff like that. So it very much is a whole family affair.
That's so amazing. And when you first started dancing, obviously, as your mum and dad doing it, so there's a male teacher always from a young age. Was there quite a lot of males dancing alongside you when you were younger, or was it always more girls?
Weirdly, I was the only boy, always.
Yeah.
Always. I was always the only boy in my class. There was a couple of boys that came and went along the way, but I have vivid memories of me being the only boy, and all of my friends were girls. All of my friends were girls. And I don't know, I guess having my dad as a teacher, for me, it was never really weird that I was a boy doing dance because my dad had always done it. So I guess that was, you know, and you always get the stereotypical, oh, well, you're a dancer, so you must be gay. And I'm just like, well, my dad's been a dancer his whole life and he's not gay. So what, you know, so I guess I grew up with that. And from an early age, seeing my dad dance and being taught by my dad, and he's not gay, then it was never a stereotype that I saw. Or followed. So I think we did have a couple of boys in and out, and there was one other boy that I used to dance with a lot at my school as well, but he joined a bit later on. And then he was there for a couple of years. But like, I'd say at most there was probably 3 boys at any one time, which is, I mean, compared to maybe like 300 girls, it's really not that many. So yeah, so that was that.
And I think it was kind of the start of like the Billy Elliot kind of that got boys started dancing, and then obviously Britain's Got Talent, X Factor, all these things that then started to put more into the start of it. And we've got about 200 boys in our dance school now, which is incredible. But I also still feel like the reason it's working is because we have got that core group of boys, so more boys want to come, whereas a lot of schools still struggle to get boys to come because they've only got the 1 or 2 boys. So it's kind of like a difficult bit. But obviously, both of us being male teachers as well, I think younger boys then feel more excited to come because they kind of know if you're a male teacher, I'm a male dancer, it kind of works a little bit better. Do you find that works for you as a choreographer and teacher as well?
I think it definitely draws more male attention to, oh, well, maybe it's okay. And I definitely do think you're right. I think boys feel more comfortable in a male presence when being taught dance. It's difficult when you're the only boy in a class of girls and you have a female teacher as well. You don't really have anything. There's nothing relatable in the class. And I think as a boy, you know, I'm all for boys dancing. So I really try and push that in my classes. And, you know, a lot of my classes, when I teach my open classes in London, for example, or Liverpool, it's usually a 50-50 split of girls and boys, which I love. So yeah, I really do think that boys respond better to a male teacher. Not always, but in my cases, especially younger boys that are kind of on that line of, should I do that or should I not? I think if they see that it's maybe me teaching the class, they'll be like, oh, well, Josh is doing it, so it's okay.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. And then when you were obviously doing dance and it's been a part of your life from such a young age, going through school, did you have to kind of hide that part of your life, or were you still quite like, I dance and deal with it, or how did you deal with it?
Do you know what? I think everyone has moments of a bit of both. I think it was never a secret to anyone in and around my life that I danced, because it was impossible for me to hide it. My whole family danced. It was part of me growing up. So I think for me to try and hide that would have been impossible. And I think, you know, we've all had times when you've been name called and the boys have kind of tried to pick on you or whatever. But I just kind of thought, this is what I do. Like, get over it. You like to go and play football.
Yeah.
I like to go in the studio and dance.
Yeah.
What's the what is the problem? Just because I'm not doing what you want me to do, now it's an issue.
Yeah.
But you know, and then as I got older, I think it affected me more in maybe like the younger years, from when I was in like kind of beginning of senior school, when you're like 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
When I hit like 15, 16 towards the end of my school, I was just like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I can guarantee that I'm getting 25 more girls than you are. So
Exactly.
and I'm getting way more attention.
Exactly. And also the fact that you have the confidence to be surrounded by these girls, whereas a lot of these guys are scared of the girls, whereas you've constantly had that in your life.
This is the thing. And like, you know, even during like, let's say we had a free period in school, I remember that they would all go to the AstroTurf to play football, and I would go in the gym, in the studio, with some of my girlfriends, and we'd just dance or whatever. Like, it was never, I never really seen it as an issue, because that's just what I did.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, like I could go and put my football boots on as well and go and play football with the boys.
Exactly.
And that was fine. And I think I do remember in school there was one point when I think, because I really didn't care, and people and all the boys knew that I didn't care about it. And like whatever they said, I'd just be like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, they almost kind of accepted me more because of that.
Yeah.
So then I would go and play football with the boys, and then sometimes they'd come and watch my dance shows. And you know what I mean? It was kind of like once you really showed them that you don't care, and whatever they say it doesn't even matter, then it became a lot easier.
No, that's great. That's great. And I think as well, like for a lot of kids that might be watching this, they might be struggling at the moment. And it's quite good to know that like actually just sticking to it can actually show that you are in love with it and that people will respect that.
Totally. And I think for me, I always say this, for me in my life, there was never another option for me. Like dance was always what I was going to do, because like I said at the beginning, I never had another passion. That was the only thing that I was interested in. As far as I'm aware, it was the only thing that I was relatively good at. So for me, whatever anyone said didn't matter, because it was what I wanted to do. And for me, that was the most important thing. I never will do things to please other people. So for me, that was the only choice. So whatever, they could have said anything to me and it wouldn't have changed the fact that I still want to dance.
Exactly. No, that's great. And it's good to be that strong-minded, to be like, right, this is what I'm doing, and kind of block everything out. So after you finished your training with your parents, how did you then take the step into your career? Did you go to a dance college, or how did you take that next step?
Yeah. So when I was 16, I decided that I just finished my GCSEs at school, and I decided that I didn't actually want to stay in school anymore. I didn't want to do A-levels, because like I said, I knew that I wanted to dance, and I kind of knew deep down that I didn't really need any of that to be able to dance. So I kind of just made the decision to leave. I joined a small dance college in Liverpool called Dolphin Dance Studios, which actually doesn't exist anymore. And at the time, they kind of specialized in basically everything that I didn't want to do. Kind of like showgirl, kind of cruise ship, musical theatre kind of vibe, which was fine. Like I loved my time there. Absolutely loved my time there. And I was still young. I was 16. I didn't know anything about anything. But it was great dance training. And I stayed there for 2 years until I just turned 17, something like that. Maybe I was halfway through 17. And then I actually transitioned over to a big institute called LIPA in Liverpool, which is Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. And I finished my final year there, which meant that I'd done 3 years in total. So 2 years at Dolphin, and then 1 year at LIPA. And then at the end of my final year at LIPA, I was like, so I joined the foundation course at LIPA just to finish my year. It's only a year course. And then at the end of that, I was kind of like, okay, now what do I do? Like, I've done 3 years. I didn't feel ready. I was still confused about everything. And I'd only just turned 18 at that point. So I was like, you know what, let me audition for the BA course at LIPA, which was the 3-year degree course. And I'll just do another 3 years, because I was only just 18. And I was like, I feel like I could do with more training, and also as long as I'm dancing, I'm happy. So I auditioned for the degree course, got offered a place. So that September I started on a 3-year course. And literally 7 weeks into my first year at LIPA, I auditioned. I naughtily took a day off and snuck down to London to audition for the X Factor. I caught wind from someone somewhere that Brian Friedman was holding auditions for dancers for the X Factor. I think it was his second year doing it. So I was like, let me just go and just experience it and just see how bad I actually am or how good I am compared to these other people.
Yeah.
So I took a day off Lipper, didn't tell anyone, got the train down to London, and it was actually being held at, it's called the Dominion Theatre, where We Were Rock You used to be.
Yep.
And on top of the Dominion Theatre, they have this huge studio. And I remember the queue was like a swirl around the block at least 4 times. There was, I want to say there was probably about 1,000 dancers there. And there was little old me, 18 years old, just fresh out of college. I was like, oh God, this is not going to end well. So I queue up literally for hours and hours and hours. And then I was like, let me, I was totally questioning the whole time. Should I even be here or should I just go? But I stayed for whatever reason, got to the front of the queue and they were like, okay, gave me a form. And then I quickly realized that it was a private audition and you had to be sent by an agency. So I was like, okay, what do I do? And I've always been quite a, what's the word? Quite cheeky in a sense.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to take a risk. So I wrote all my information down and I just looked at the forms next to me and seeing who the most common agency was. And I just wrote their name down and I was like, I'll just try. Lo and behold, they let me in.
Wow.
No one questioned it. I got through the whole audition right to the end of the day and I ended up booking the job and I have no idea how and I have no idea why, but I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I was in the right place at the right time. And then funnily enough, a week later, I ended up getting signed by that agency that I wrote down on the form.
Wow. That's incredible.
So that was really my first footstep into the industry.
Yeah.
You know, and then from that first week of X Factor, they kept asking me back. And I think I did about 7 weeks in total on that season. And it meant that I was taking too much time off Lipper, missing too much written work and training and stuff. So I just sent them an email and I was like, listen, this is a chance that I can't really pass up. And it's becoming a lot. So I'm just going to have to bow out of my training for now. And I always think, like, if I hadn't have done that, would I even be sitting here having this conversation with you now?
Exactly.
You know, so it was it was another risk that I was willing to take and it kind of paid off.
Yeah. It's so crazy because if you just hadn't gone to that one audition, your whole career could have been so different.
It could have been. I might not have even had a career. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because from that one day, I met so many amazing people, so many important people that have helped me have the career that I've had. Like I said, I got signed by the agency that I wrote on the list, and they've been the agency that have supported me for 10 years.
And did you ever have to have the conversation with them to say, I kind of wrote your name down?
Yeah, well, when I at the end of that audition, the guy that runs the agency called Jerry, I was getting my bag at the end of the day. And he came over and tapped me on the shoulder and I was like, oh my God, this is not going to be good. And he was like, oh, hey, my name's Jerry. And we just had a chat and it was just so nice. And he was like, you know, I really like you and I'd like you to work for the agency. And blah, blah. I was like, what? It's really crazy. But yeah, and now we're really good friends. And yeah, he is responsible for my career. So
that's incredible. It's so crazy that one decision has now changed everything and molded it.
Exactly, completely.
And I think as well, what's really good is the fact that you're not just a performer, you've kind of branched out into a bit of everything now. So what do you think from your career is the most important part for you? Do you feel like that core allowed you to do these certain parts, or do you feel like now you're kind of swaying more towards teacher, choreographer, or where do you kind of feel like you are?
Do you know what? I think I don't like putting labels on things.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I had this chat with someone else the other day and they were like, so have you retired from dancing now? Like, do you not perform anymore? And I'm like, well, I don't think I ever will.
Yeah.
You know, like if the right performance came along and I got offered it, of course I would do it. Like, why would I not? I'm a dancer at heart.
Yeah.
But it just so happens at the moment that I'm just trying to push my energy into the choreography because ultimately that is the next step for me. To choreograph these shows and concerts and tours and whatever. So it's not that I've given up on one thing or retired from one thing. It's just that I'm pushing my energy in different directions right now. The teaching side of things for me, it's always been a consistent in my life from when I started working on my first job to now. I've always taught. And even before that, at my mum and dad dance school, like I said, I started teaching when I was about 14, 15. But actually like properly professionally teaching probably since I was 19. So 10 years ago. And that has always been my, you know, I call it a normal job, even though it's not a normal job. That is my 9 to 5. That's how
Yeah.
I pay my bills. You know, that's
Yeah.
my bread and butter. So, I think that will always be a consistent regardless of what else I do. And then on the side of my teaching, obviously I perform when I can and I choreograph when I can. So
Yeah.
the teaching is definitely the most consistent part.
Yeah. And one question, obviously these chats are about how we can inspire more boys into the dance world. And
Yeah.
you're talking about when you were younger, there wasn't very many boys, but now you're working in an industry where there's so many boys constantly. You'll have met some of the most amazing names in the dance industry around the world.
Mm-hmm.
How do you reflect back? So if you could go back to the start and you could explain to these young boys who are just starting out, like what would you kind of give them as advice to keep going?
I think for me, going into the industry and just seeing literally just how many boys there actually are in the industry that are working consistently, doing the jobs that I always wanted to do when I was younger. It's when you're at a dance school and you're the only boy in a class, it makes you kind of feel like, do boys even do this?
Yeah.
Like, is this
Yeah.
even a thing? But then when I stepped into the industry, I was going to auditions with 800 boys.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy actually how many boys and how many amazingly talented boys there are in this industry. And, you know, like going back to what I said earlier about the boys in school giving me a bit of a hard time and stuff, the amount of messages that I get now saying, oh, I've seen you on TV. Oh, I've seen you doing this from those exact boys. I'm like, you know, the main thing that I can say about myself is I am now doing what I always wanted to do, but are they doing what they always wanted to do? Because I know half of them aren't.
Yeah.
You know, I've always done the same thing since we were at school. I've always done the same thing, and now I am kind of in the least cheesy way possible. I am living the dreams that I had when I was at school,
Exactly.
and I'm in a position that I never, ever, ever thought that I would be in. But can I say the same for those boys? Because I don't know.
You're
So
right.
the one thing that I can say is don't stop, because you will get there, and if you want to do it, you've got to make it happen yourself.
Yeah. It's
And
so
I
true.
almost used it as a bit of, you know, I used it as a bit of fuel to be like, okay, so you think this whole dancing thing is a joke, so let me show you, because now I've bought my own house.
Yeah.
I'm working consistently.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that all of those boys have the same thing.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing, and that proves success, but I've been able to make the life that I want from being a dancer.
Absolutely.
And I
And not
think
many people can, and not many people can be that successful in the dance world. And I feel like you've kind of just kept pushing and pushing. And obviously last year you got to work alongside Brian Friedman. So that's almost like, wow, you're right up there for him, obviously giving you one of your first jobs on the X Factor to now working alongside him. How was that step for you?
Yeah. You know, it was a pretty surreal kind of full circle moment. I know it sounds really stupid, but I remember I was sitting on my couch at home and I got a text, not even like an email. I got a text and it just said Brian Friedman. And I was like, wait, Brian Friedman put a text in my phone? Like, that's so weird to me. Someone that I've always looked up to since I was like 11 or something. Like, you know, like Slave for You and all the Britney combinations and stuff like that are all things that I grew up watching. And then all of a sudden that guy is now texting me and he offered me the job. And it was, do you know what? Of course, the job was amazing. And it was definitely a once in a lifetime job for me, and probably something that I'll never get to experience again. And I got to live in Budapest for 2 months in Hungary, which was incredible. But aside from all that, it was just the fact that I actually really got to know Brian as a person. And I think it made me realize that, okay, yeah, he's super successful and he's probably the best at what he does, but actually underneath all that, he's just a normal person. And he likes the same things that I do. He's very family orientated. He likes good food. He's just a normal person. He's funny. And I think for me, it was just, I had to pinch myself a couple of times. Like, I was just sat at dinner with Brian Friedman and we were just chatting about normal stuff. It was just really weird. And then obviously to work alongside him on that film as his associate choreographer, I learned so much just from watching him work about, you know, just ethics and how to be a professional, basically, how to organize yourself correctly. Just watching him in rehearsals gave me a lot of tips on how I can do things better. So I think for me, it was definitely a moment.
And not many people will get that opportunity in their lifestyle. And especially the fact that he was someone you idolized as a kid to actually be alongside. It's such an amazing full circle to come round in, isn't it?
It was amazing. It was amazing, yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting for you. And at the moment, you are obviously in lockdown with the rest of us. How are you kind of dealing with your teaching side? Are you now taking stuff online?
Yeah, so obviously for the first couple of weeks of this lockdown, everything was a bit hazy and a bit unsure. But slowly but surely now everyone started. All of the colleges that I work for are now slowly taking some classes online. So I've kind of got my normal schedule back in a weird way. It's a little bit less, but it's pretty much the same. And I'm just teaching an open class every week on Zoom on a Wednesday, 6 till 7.
Perfect.
Just to keep people dancing. A lot of people message me like, "Oh, please teach a class. Like, we miss taking class." And obviously it's not 100% the same experience, but I'm trying to give people as much as I can through a screen.
Yeah.
So it seems to be working. People are enjoying it. People are signing up. So
no, it's great. And I also feel like you say, we're all kind of in this uncertain time. So to be able to create like a little bit of consistency for your normal life, it's quite good to allow these kids and students to still be able to continue as well.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people have messaged me like, "Oh, thank you so much for keeping these classes going. Like, it's keeping us sane during lockdown." And for me, that's what it's all about. Like, I don't really care about the money and stuff like that. It's more just about giving people an outlet to be able to still dance during whatever's going on. So I think a lot of people are enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And hopefully some of my students will join in as well after watching this. I always think for me personally, you're one of the biggest names in the commercial industry, and obviously for Edinburgh, Scotland's very far behind in the scale of what we are in the UK of dance wise. So we're obviously in Scotland always a few steps behind, but all the kids look up to you, all of the teachers, everyone follows you on social media. Do you mean? And it's amazing to have someone on this level be able to speak to me and just to explain to the kids, like, keep going, it's going to be worth it in the end. And I think that they hear me saying it over and over and over and over, but to actually hear it from other people that they look up to and admire, I think that that's such an important message.
Definitely. And I think it always sinks in differently when they hear it from someone else. Yeah. It always sinks in differently when they hear someone else saying the same things that you say probably every week.
Exactly.
But as soon, I have it with my own students, I'm banging on them constantly. And then as soon as I bring a guest in and they say the same thing, they're like, "Oh yeah," like they've never heard it before. But yeah, no, it's crazy to me that you said that I'm one of the biggest names in the commercial industry. Like, I just don't see it like that. But I guess in some ways, you know, I want to, if I'm in a position where I can help and I can give back, then for me, that's one of the biggest goals right now.
Yeah.
Not just during this lockdown, but just in my life at the point that I'm in and the stage that I'm at in my career. Like, I want to help people. I want to give back as much as possible. And, you know, it's not a secret that I have a soft spot for Scotland. I love coming to Scotland. I love coming to Edinburgh. Is one of my favorite cities in the world, full stop.
Yeah.
You know, I will always come down, up even, whenever I can. I've got some exciting things planned in Scotland as well, and some other events that are going to happen in Scotland once this is all over, which I'm looking forward to announcing. So there is things happening.
Good. I'm glad. And also, one last thing is, if obviously dance has been apart from your life since you were 5, you've had no kind of other passion of going anywhere else. If you could go back and think, right, what would I be doing if I hadn't picked the dancer route? Do you have any idea what you maybe enjoy to do instead?
Do you know what? I have 2 answers. I always, for some reason, I am obsessed with true crime. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah.
I am like obsessed. So something to do with maybe like policing in some way, like a detective or something. I'm obsessed with like kind of true crime documentaries and podcasts. Yeah. I travel a lot with work. So whenever I'm in my car, on a train, on a plane, I'm always got true crime podcasts in my ears, always. People think I'm crazy for it, but I don't know. I just find it so interesting. Yeah. And then other than that, I love to cook. I love food. I wouldn't go as far as saying that I would love to be a chef, but I don't know. I just find it interesting. I love cooking at home. I would happily spend 5 or 6 hours cooking a meal.
Yeah.
For people to enjoy. They're probably my other 2 interests, but definitely not enough for me to want to pursue it as a career. But it's what I do in my spare time. So whenever I do have spare time.
And it's funny because lockdown's allowing you time to be able to cook, whereas usually I'm sure you're always on the go.
Oh, listen, I don't even spend, like, this is the most time we bought our house 3 years ago, nearly 4 years ago, and this is the most time I've ever spent in my own home. It's crazy,
isn't it?
It's
good. It's good. And I think we'll look back at this time in years to come and be like, remember that time? And it will be a distant memory. But right now, every day does feel the same. But we will.
Totally.
Which is great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. Hopefully we've managed to speak to even just one student who's then clicked in their brain, I can do this. And hopefully we can do it. And maybe we might even have inspired someone to want to work alongside you one day when they're older. So it might all be another
Totally. I hope so. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate everything you've said. And yeah, like you said, even if we can help one person, I think it's a job well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much and good luck with the rest of lockdown. Hopefully it's going to get better soon.
Yeah, you too.
Perfect. Right, we'll speak to you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Thanks so much for taking the time to watch Simon Talks Dance Today with Josh Wharmby. Hopefully you've enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about his story in dance and his career so far. Now, thank you once again for watching. And if you have got any comments or any feedbacks, please let me know. And we will see you at the next one. Make sure you follow us on social media. We've got our Facebook, our Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. So get following and we'll see you at the next one.